The information provided in this podcast is for general information purposes only and should not be considered as personal advice. Always consult with a qualified professional or expert in the relevant field for personalised advice tailored to your specific situation. So effectively what we'll do is over the course of 3 to 4 years, depending on how much money has gone in, we'll look to then refresh that pension over a period of time. But it will all come down to what he has accumulated in that account over the years. And to create a tax efficiency ongoingly, we'll then sort of ensure that if there is a pension that needs to be refreshed, it's not like you can just top up the pension, you'll have to refresh the pension, you'll have to restart the pension.
Hello, everybody, and welcome. My name is Tamara, and I'm the practice manager at Ryker Capital. So welcome to another episode of the Wealth Guide, of course, sponsored by Ryker Capital. I have senior advisor Regmi on the couch with me today.
Hello, Tamara.
Hi, Ray. How are you today?
Good. How are you?
I'm really, really good. I know we've been very busy this time of year, everybody says. So I'm really excited that we're able to have a little bit of time today to have a chat. Now, what we're diving into today is we want to unpack a strategy called transition to retirement. A lot of people have heard about it. My knowledge is pretty basic. So from what I understand, Ray, is a transition to retirement, you might consider this for a client if either they're wanting to decrease their working hours in the lead up to retirement and they want some money to supplement that. Or if people want to dig in and really take advantage of those final years before retirement, they want to boost their super, they want to save on tax. Look, Ray, that's all I know about transition to retirement. It's really, really at a high level. Are you able to unpack a few more details around somebody who you would consider maybe a transition to retirement would work for them?
Yeah, I'm really excited to be talking about this strategy tomorrow. I think transition to retirement strategy was designed to help Australians boost their superannuation, but also help reduce their taxes. Now, it might work differently in different age categories, anywhere from between age 50 or 60 or 65. So different age gaps or age periods will have a different sort of tax efficiencies. So it all depends on what age you are. But above all, I think what is important is that you have met your preservation age, which is a key requirement for a transition to retirement strategy.
So right away, as I said, that's complex to me. What is a preservation age, Ray?
Preservation age effectively means that you have the ability to access your superannuation. It's anywhere between, like I mentioned before, from age 50 to age 60.
Okay, so we can go to you to find out what the preservation age
Absolutely.
if we need to.
Yeah.
Okay, so if I have got, so first of all, I have to have reached preservation age.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So as far as that strategy actually goes, do I still have a superannuation account or how does it actually physically work?
So effectively you have a bit of both. So what you have as an example of a transition to retirement strategy, why don't we sort of deep dive into a case study, if you like?
Okay.
So the recent example of client that we helped was Sebastian. He was over the age of 65. He's got a long time frame to retire. So he wants to work another 5 years because he's very fit and healthy. He earns a very good, reasonable income. What he wanted to ensure was how do I boost my retirement income for over the next 5 years, but also help me reduce my taxes. Okay. So Sebastian was on about roughly $100,000. Mm-hmm. He has got a significant amount of super fund balance at about $500,000. So what was happening in Sebastian's case is not only paying tax on the $100,000 that he was earning, but effectively he was also paying tax of 15% on earnings in his superannuation. So the strategy we sort of unpacked or looked at for Sebastian was to have a look at how can we effectively use salary sacrifice mechanism to firstly reduce his taxes, because if he's earning $100,000 and as an example, if he were to salary sacrifice $15,000 off his salary into his superannuation, what it does is it helps him reduce his taxable income down to $85,000. So the tax he was paying on $100,000, let's say, was about roughly $29,000. But now that he's salary sacrificed $15,000, his marginal tax rate would be a lot lower because he's now earning $85,000. So as a result, personally, he was able to save in the vicinity of $6,000 in taxes, give or take. What it effectively also meant that now that his superannuation is converted into a allocated pension state, anything that you earn inside the pension was completely tax-free. So you no longer had to pay the ATO the tax on earnings at the rate of 15%. Now, most people don't realize is in their superannuation, whatever you earn as an income you pay a tax at the rate of 15%. So by converting that into an allocated pension after the age of 65, it allows them to not pay any taxes going forward.
Okay, so correct me, and I'm going to summarize to make sure I've heard you correctly. So not only was Sebastian in this case, he was paying less personal tax because of the nature of the salary sacrifice.
Exactly.
But you've taken, I guess, a large lump of his superannuation. That now sits in what you said, his pension account.
Yeah.
And that lump sum sitting in pension account doesn't attract the 15%.
Correct.
Whereas if it was sitting in super, even though it's 15%, it's better than marginal tax rate, this is 0%.
Exactly. So there's no other place in Australia where I'd like to go, I can earn an income and pay no taxes. So how good is that you've got this good amount of allocated pension sitting in there, which he had almost about 495,000, and he had left $5,000 into superannuation to receive super contributions. But the remaining portion of that funds, that 495,000, sat in what we call an allocated pension account. So whatever the earnings that he would have had within that pension fund, he would have had to pay no tax on it. However, the only cash there is that government will require you to draw down a certain percentage based on your age. So in his case, it was about 5% that he had to draw down out of his allocated pension.
Okay. So then, all right. So then the complexity there. So I still have to keep my superannuation account open, and I want to keep it open because that is still building and accumulating for my retirement. So that's why I have those two accounts as well.
And you need that because for that strategy to work, you need to have an accumulation account and a pension account. I think most of the people sort of think about it as a bank account where you think that, why can't I receive money in but also get money out? For legislative reasons or for superannuation, the way it's sort of set up, you need to have an account which does the accumulation component, and you have the pension component which discharges the income.
And as the years go by, as Sebastian every year, is he taking money and topping up his pension account? Is that what you do proactively every year then? Or how does that work?
So effectively what we'll do is over the course of 3 to 4 years, depending on how much money has gone in, we'll look to then refresh that pension over a period of time. But it'll all come down to what he has accumulated in that account over the years. And to create a tax efficiency ongoingly, we'll then sort of ensure that if there is a pension that needs to be refreshed, it's not like you can just top up the pension. You'll have to refresh the pension. You'll have to restart the pension. So you just got to be mindful of a couple of key considerations there before you actually go and restart the pension.
It sounds like it's very effective, but it also sounds complex. So I'm going to suggest that is what you are here for, to make sure that it's done correctly, the rules are followed, and that there is that annual maintenance with a pension refresh.
Exactly.
If necessary.
Yeah. So again, looking back at what Sebastian last year, as an example, he made roughly around the 10% on $50,000, he would have had to discharge a tax of approximately, let's just say, 15%. Now, that $4,500 he didn't have to pay, which he get to keep. Now, you combine that with the personal tax savings and a superannuation tax savings or pension income tax savings, that is a huge amount.
That's more cash in your client's hands.
Exactly. And you do that over the next 5 or 7 years or 10 years, that's a significant amount.
It adds up a lot. Thank you very much, Ray. You have unpacked that quite well. Really appreciate it.
Cheers.